Clash of Clans podcast, OG, episode 39. And welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am one of your hosts, Scotty827, joined today by the lovely, the fantastic, the marvelous, and the freshly out of jail.
Shaved.
And shaved. Freshly out of
Freshly
jail
shaved.
for your indecent exposure.
Do you shave your...
Well, welcome back, everybody.
Ow!
Whoops. So, speaking of indecent exposure, did you hear my comments on the last podcast
Which one?
about you being arrested?
Oh, no. I did
pie.
hear that. That's so funny. Yeah, for indecent exposure.
Yeah.
No indecent exposure. They did win, which is great.
Awesome.
Yay. So they are second
Congratulations.
place in the league right now, but we already played the first place team and we lost 1-0. So
Well, that's hopeful. If it
yeah,
was a 5-0, then it'd be like, well, we got a long way to go.
yeah, they're pretty good. So my son is a really good defender. Like, he is really good. He is like 4 foot ball of freaking fire. I mean, he has like strawberry blonde, like red hair, and
He's on
he
fire.
is not he will go against a kid who's like 5'8", and he will just throw his body and plow right through it. So much so that after last game, we had to have a talk, and it had to be like, buddy, like, okay, I'm good with aggressive, like 100%. Aggressive is awesome, but you can't be aggressive to the point that you're like leading with your shoulder and almost hurting people. Like, you have to show restraint. And
we got to draw lines at karate chops.
Yeah. Like, no face bashing into another person's face.
Yeah, no backflip into a sidekick, into a ninja. Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah, but they won, I think it was 7-1 last week. So they did really well. And then we have 2 more games left. One is actually today at 4:00. And then the next one's next weekend. And it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours away. So, and then they'll be done for the season.
Well, yeah, it's getting snowy here. We were talking about that, almost in the snow season, and that it's almost prime clashing season when it gets to that -40 below wind chill here in the great state of Minnesota.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
I'm kind of looking forward to it. There's a lot of stuff happening in Clash, and I think it's going to be a good winter as we move in, because we are in the November justice season, right? I'm checking my months in my head as I'm going through this. We are apparently getting ready for Town Hall 17.
Apparently.
Right? Because
it's crazy. But yeah.
Because where the only real confirmation that I could, from everything that I was listening back to the podcasts, and I think the only super major confirmation is the last Town Hall 16 challenge, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. So they had the last Town Hall 15 challenge last time, right before Town Hall 16 came out. So I guess they're just kind of playing on the same language, last Town Hall 16 challenge.
Yeah. So that would, to me, wouldn't that be to you like the biggest indicator? Like,
oh yeah,
yes, this is definitely dropping.
Oh yeah. I think what's shocking to me is that it's coming out in less than 12 months. So it's interesting how before Supercell was on record as saying they were going to try to put out a new town hall every 18 months or so. Like, that was their goal. And then all of a sudden with Town Hall 16, they start banging out town halls, and they say they're going to continue doing so, but about on a 12-month schedule. Well, with Hammer Jam starting, and then typically, they'll give it a few days after Hammer Jam, and then bam, that means that Town Hall 17 is going to be here before Thanksgiving, if that's the case. And that's less than a year before Town Hall 16 was introduced. that just, I mean, I guess I'm happy about it, but that just seems really fast. I don't know, you like to work fast, but I like to take it a little slow and enjoy it and savor it a little bit. I don't like
Well,
to go off too quickly.
I think I think so if they're gonna do one, I think December 1st would make always make the best
I agree.
release date, because then you've got the Christmas and it's busy at that time, right? But gives people more incentive to play. And then you've got Christmas and holidays and dead of winter where you can just play it up
Hmm.
through those months. So,
I think the thing that they have to be careful of is if they release it too early, then people won't think of spending on this new town hall as their Christmas present if it's too early. So a lot of people, for
oh yeah, I
example, when Town Hall
suppose.
16 was introduced, they're like, "Oh, I'm just going to give myself a slightly early Christmas present because it was introduced on December 12th." Well, now if it's introduced in November or even December 1st, I don't know, that's pushing it to me. Are people going to be less likely to say, "Oh, I want to buy myself an early Christmas present with this $100 pack so that I can max out my heroes in day one?" Are they more likely to be like, Christmas isn't here yet. I haven't bought the kids presents yet. So therefore, I'm going to hold off and just upgrade it slowly. Maybe in a few weeks, if there are
Or
still a few packs left, deals left in the cash shop, then maybe I'll buy something.
or I still haven't spent all my Christmas money yet. So, sorry kids.
I'm spending it on myself.
Yep,
Although, did you spend the money on buying the Mad Max homage
I did.
map? I saw that.
I
It's
did.
it's freaking amazing, man.
I thought it was really
That
cool.
was really really cool. And,
Did you
and
buy it?
I did not buy it. I did not buy it, but I did like Mad Max movie. It's been years since I watched it, and then they made a
Oh,
follow up too, right?
they made a couple. They've got the old ones, and then they Fury Road, and then there's a new one, Ponderosa, but I haven't seen Ponderosa.
So we've been catching up, my son, on a lot of the classics. So we just finished the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Um, we're gonna watch the prequel now, the
Oh, the Hobbits.
Hobbit, and all of that. We watched Neo,
Oh, Matrix.
Matrix. Yep. So we watched that. We've watched all the Star Treks. We watched all Back to the Futures. Like we're getting him, in so that way he's plenty nerded out. And
Very
I've been
nice.
debating on whether or not to do Mad Max, but I don't know if it's too gory. Like, is it? I don't even know what it's
I don't.
rated.
I was just rewatching it. I, I, I'd wait on that one.
Okay, probably
I
till he's a
kind
little
of,
bit older.
yeah, like, yeah. I think it's just a little gritty. Like, I don't think it's that gory from what I was like seeing or remembering, but it just it
Intense.
yeah, it's kind of an intensity that takes a little more patience, I think, because it's like real slow build, and then you know, I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Which I'm surprised that they would do a Mad Max homage, considering this is a game that's promoted as a kids game, and yet they have a very serious war theme that they're promoting in game. I mean, obviously this is Mad Max.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
did you see the Justice scenery?
I guess I haven't. I saw that. So I saw the rolling Mad Max vehicle. I have not seen any other sceneries yet.
Okay, I bought that one too.
I I must have just missed
Uh,
it. I didn't realize there was another scenery.
yeah, it's on my home base. If you have the game open, but um, not a war scenery. This was just a regular scenery, and
Oh, right, right, right.
I'm finding myself buying these skins a little bit more than I have in the past. So congrats, Supercell. But this one kind of looked like to me like it was
Ooh,
uh like the Hall of Justice.
this is very
Like
cool. It's the
yeah,
first time I'm seeing it.
it makes me and it's got these pillars and these spotlights.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. And if you zoom all the way over to like the bottom. Well, if you're going to like the bottom left hand corner,
Uh-huh.
it's almost like you're Batman standing on the ledge looking down into
Oh
Gotham
yeah,
City.
yeah, that is cool. Like I'm standing on top of the building.
Yep. Like from up here on my perch, I'm gonna do this. But the one thing about it is this scenery, more than any other one, makes me want to rearrange my village to match it. Because it's like the town square, you've got the
Oh
the
yeah.
justice buildings around it, and it's
You
like I want
you
to
could put
create a
your town
thoroughfare.
hall like right in the top middle of the left, like right in front of the Justice Center, which
Yep.
this is interesting. It's either an archer who has a sword with wings, or it's a healer that has a sword of
Oh.
the statue. Maybe it's just this is the altar of justice or whatever, and it means absolutely nothing. But we have gotten some hints that we're going to be getting a new hero at Town Hall 17, and it was a flying hero that looked like the minion. Did you see that at all?
Yeah, I did. And that was like when I saw so it was one of the videos right at the end of the hammer, who hammered the
Who stole the hammer?
hammerless
Oh,
or
hammerless.
whatever
Right,
it
right,
is.
right, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he there was a hero that looked like a minion, buff minion
Mm-hmm.
guy, like or being, and I saw that, and I didn't follow up on anything. I didn't see anything else about it. I just I think I just shut down in hope. Like
Mm.
that would be a really cool hero.
Well, I put out that video several months ago about potential videos, and something I pointed out was we have no flying heroes other than you can put the warden on air, I guess, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him a flying hero. So the minion hero would be the answer to that. But also, what if we get the Minion King?
That would be
We we got to invite Boneyard back onto the podcast.
yeah.
Minion King.
I'd have to send him a screenshot.
He
Well,
would go crazy. That would be awesome.
I'm starting to wonder. Okay, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'm almost thinking we're not gonna get one, but we're gonna get like three.
I can see that.
Because look at even on that map. So there's a bomber one over on the Justice map on the bottom. Well, like over by the drawbridge.
Right?
There's a bomber one, and you said that there's that one. I don't see the Minion King in there.
Oh no, no, I didn't see the Minion King in the Justice scenery.
Right, but like maybe that's not. Maybe that's the one leak, and these are two other ones or something.
Where's the bomber?
Over on the right hand side,
Okay. Oh yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah. The skeleton. The Skeleton King,
now
bruh.
wouldn't that be cool? Like you
That would
could
be awesome.
maybe it's a leak. I'm just looking around them after you
I,
said that about the archer queen or the flying healer with a sword.
well, I at one time I had the hero idea of a Valkyrie that rides a griffin as a potential flying troop. And so the Griffin would, whenever you press the hero ability, it would almost be like the ability on the builder base where it would recharge. And when you press the ability, the Griffin would go down to the ground, let the Valkyrie off, let her spin around for a bit, and then would fly back up in the air. And then once the ability, you could press it again, she would fly down, she would spin around again until the Griffin was destroyed. And then the Valkyrie on her own would go, wreaking havoc left and right with her axe. So
That'd
that
be
was my
cool.
idea for a hero, but I
Y-
but
Nobody
I
said
do
anything about a
think
hog hero. That would be kind of cool too.
oh yeah. I do
The-
I do think that more heroes is definitely in the books. And we've talked about that because more heroes means more hero equipment, which is their main source of revenue right now. So I do see more heroes. And then also there's been a lot of talk about being able to use heroes while upgrading. Well,
yeah,
if heroes if we had multiple heroes but could only take 4 in battle,
Yeah.
then that means we could essentially have, if for instance they introduce 3 heroes, we could have 3 heroes upgrading at one time and still have 4 heroes to use in the battle. So whether or not to use heroes while upgrading wouldn't be an issue. But it would also still make like hero books valuable because we have 3 more heroes to upgrade and get max. So of course players are going to be buying hero books left and right to finish their heroes as quickly as possible. So I mean this is just a
Yeah.
win-win for
Like
Supercell.
like the pets. You can use the
Right.
pets, well, but
Exactly.
you just can't use the one that's upgrading. I
Right.
think that would be I mean, you would maybe with the option to do them all, but like and that's where I think like you could really see them just dropping like a couple. Of course, it would be like people would be overwhelmed. Um, but if they were kind of back, if they were going to do 15, 16, 17, right? Or
Right.
something, like equipment anyways, I think if they did one, it would not, all the pieces would be in place that it would apply to all three. But
What do you
I don't
think
know.
about the ore situation? Because unless you're a max Town Hall
Oh,
16, like if you're a max Town Hall 16, you have plenty of opportunity to gain enough ore. In fact, on my main, I have 3 pieces left. So my spears at level 26, I have one more level for that. Oh, I'm sorry, I have 4 pieces left. My spear, my mirror, my frozen arrow, and my about said lava hound. What the new one? What's it
oh,
called?
the
Whatever the new one is, the
lava.
green one, lava loon. Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Like those are the only 4 that I have left, and I think it's like 21, 18, and 14 are the levels those are at. So like I'm doing okay on my main, but on any of my other accounts, like I'm so far behind with hero equipment that I
Yeah.
really think they need to introduce a way to gain more ore, especially if they're going to be introducing a new hero with more and more and more and more and more equipment. Like they're going to have to give us more ore somehow.
So I agree with you, and I was going to ask you like how you're how you're doing that on the other accounts, or what yours was like too. Um, I think okay, the starry ore is a problem. It's a real problem. I I feel like I can make really good progress at a decent rate on all equipment, but I think that the starry ore has to at least double.
Yeah. So
Because to
yeah,
wait for this 100, I'm about to hit this real wall cap. I've got like couple at 26, or all these different levels, and the way that it is, I do not see, like, I basically think there's got to be a change in that, and or otherwise this is going to be forever to get it up, because I'm gonna have to wait. I mean, even for 100 starry ore, it takes forever.
yeah.
Like,
They need to add it to the daily bonus.
mm-hmm.
Like they need to, yeah. I have not done a video yet, but I was planning on doing a video on the best way to spend your raid medals in the shop. And to be honest with you, for most players who are not at our level, like we're willing to spend $5 on the extra pass, every other month or whatever. We buy the gold pass, maybe we spend a couple bucks in the cash shop on our mains every single month. Most players aren't like that. They're not buying the event pass. They may be
Yeah.
getting gold pass, maybe not. Those players are so far behind that glowy ore is their holdup by far.
Oh,
And that's what I'm noticing on all of my lower accounts is I don't have enough glowy ore. But with all of my higher accounts, so Tal Shiar, my Rush 10 all 16, and my main, the holdup very clearly is Starry Ore, but that's only because I've basically finished most, if not all, of my common equipment already.
and if they made it so that way that it was, you could also get it through achievement,
Yep.
to be able to
Something.
farm it, even if it was like one, per attack, one starry ore for a 3 star, or that could slowly accumulate and add to it over time. But that one just seems so, I guess, now that we're talking about it, like free of, I guess, war. You got war achievements in there, but like, there's no way to push it except for with money.
What did you think about Pie's idea about making the builder base daily bonus contain ore as well?
I think that would save the builder base.
I think it would. It would make a bunch of players mad, though.
Well, everybody's going to be mad about something.
Yeah, this is so true. Everybody's
There's
pissed off at
nothing
Supercell
that,
about something all the time.
yeah. So it's just like, which, which, what do you want to hear people whine about?
Yeah, it's
Right.
true.
Like,
It's like if you have a problem with it, don't freaking do it. If you don't, I mean, seriously, don't play builder base if you're gonna just
yeah.
complain about it. You
Well,
know?
there's no end game. There's no end game over there, really.
Yeah,
Like to me, and I'm sure there's a whole like different world that I'll learn about with it. But like, yeah, what's that would give it a complete. I think that's a genius idea. I think it would give it like
I agree.
purpose,
Yeah,
and
I
I think
agree.
like it, or that also has to maybe. Well, we get raid medals from the capital stuff, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great to have something that produces, and and even if it's just a small amount,
Mm-hmm.
so that way like I could make that progress. But yeah, like I'm sitting here and I've got uh, once I get between the level, I can get it up there pretty quick. But I got my spears at 26, my mirrors at 26.
Yep, that's a lot of
Two,
Starry Ore right there, just with those two.
yeah, and I've got two. I got my 24 on my spiky ball and my gauntlet that could quickly get up to 26.
Mm-hmm.
And so anything, my fireball is at 20, so I want to
Mm-hmm.
get it one more level. So I'm looking at this like, oh yeah, at this rate, that's like I don't know, like 2 months,
Are
a month.
are so I did the numbers a long time ago, and it was you could max out a piece of epic equipment in 1 month if you already had the starry ore for it. But if you were starting from zero with starry ore, it would take 3 months per epic piece of equipment. If you were a max town plus 16, warring, every other day, doing all your CWL hits and winning 50% of your wars, it was
Wow.
still 3 months per piece to go from 0 to 27.
Yeah, so I'm feeling that. And you are too.
Mm-hmm.
It would be just a little something to progress it. I think it's good that it takes a long time. You have to
Yeah,
stick with it, and you have to make choices. But it is weird that there's these bottlenecks at certain times that you can't do anything about.
I like the fact that the invis file, for example, can kind of sub out for the mirror. I mean, the mirror is better, much better for damage, but the invis file also has its benefits to
Oh
it
yeah,
as well, and I can kind of trade it out. So, for instance, with my mirror, I'm kind of waiting on that one because I have the invis file that's already maxed that I can use. You know,
yeah. I do say though, in with the Orst situation, even though it slows me down on some of the top ones, it does not necessarily prevent me from getting the other things leveled up in the meantime.
right?
So like the Starry Ore might be a bench, but like, so I'm like, okay, well, I've got time, so I'm just gonna level this one up a little bit more. But so there is a lot of building going on. Uh, should we just talk about the Hammer Jam Well, Hammer Jam and strategy on that?
Is this your first Hammer Jam that you've ever experienced?
I believe so.
I don't remember them doing anything like this back before I quit the first time.
Yeah, I don't remember it, or if I did, it was maybe the very first. It was not when I was recording. I don't believe.
So this is the first year that Supercell has ever offered Hammer Jam where it's 50% off the cost of buildings. And for instance, last year, that's where it stopped. Like the time was the same. The 50% off did not affect the lab. It did not affect heroes. It did not affect pets. It did affect walls. The walls were classified as a building, but it was literally just 50% off. That's it. 50% off buildings. Now, this year, they've not only done 50% off
Wow.
buildings, but they've also done 50% off of the lab and 50% off heroes and 50% off time on top of
That's
that.
too.
What does that tell you? Like, what are you feeling from like it's massive. Like, that's huge.
See you later, Town Hall 16.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
a very, very nice, brief stay at this town hall, but I'll be passing on pretty quickly.
so what this tells me, to be honest, is that there are a lot of players who are really far behind. And this is Supercell's effort to say, come on, guys, come on, let's catch
Eh,
up. Come on, come on, let's get up there.
they're
And it
shortening the game, yeah.
exactly. So I also, I think last year was only 14 days. Chewy was talking about this in clan chat. I think last year was 14 days. This year was like 17 or 18 days for
Well,
Hammer Jam. So like they're
oh,
extending the time. They're
I'm
also
so
adding
excited.
50% off cost, 50% off time. Like I hopefully will be able to max out my 14 and max out my 15. And honestly, on
And
my rush Town Hall 16, like I'm gonna be I'm probably gonna be a month. If they waited a month to put out Town Hall 17, I might actually be able to max out my rush Town Hall 16 within the next month.
and do you think and is your rushed shorter than my is it farther behind than my base?
It's a little bit farther behind than your base.
Okay.
Yes.
Cuz I've done
So
some. Oh, sorry, go for it.
no, you've done a lot. And so I think you're really close, to be honest with you, especially using your hammers and your books so efficiently.
Thank you for
Like
that, by the
you've come
way.
so far. No, I mean, yeah, you've come so far. But man, that rushed account is coming up fast, man. Like it's I've gotten all the core defenses done. So all of the really long timers are either done or one level off max, just waiting for a book or a hammer. And now I'm plowing through my archer towers, my cannons, my mortars. Like I'm just plow, plow, plow. Like and
Yeah.
especially with hammer jams, like every 5 to 6 to 15 hours. Like I'm just bam, replace, bam, replace, bam. Like builders are just going, the sparks flying off of their hammer. They're going so fast upgrading this stuff.
It's getting emotional. Everybody's just getting into it. Uh, so, okay, let me ask you this. It CWL metals, use them on builder potions, right?
Yeah. So I actually had a person who commented on my last video who said, "Hey, Tip, can you do the math on whether or not builder potions are actually better than hammers during hammer jam?" And I was like, "Wait a second." So typically a builder potion and so technically a builder potion only gives you 9 hours of extra upgrade time, even though it says, your builder works 10 times faster during the 1 hour because you still have to wait the hour that they would have been doing anyway. But just using the number 10 for ease of math, technically, if you have uh, a builder potion in the league shop that you can buy, it makes sense to buy a hammer over a builder potion for any upgrade that's over 10-ish days, right? Well, with Hammer Jam, the hammers in the league shop are worth half of what they normally would be because those 14 and 15 upgrades are now only 6 and 7 days. So if you use a hammer, you're only saving
Y-
6 or 7 days. But
Yep.
with a builder potion, they're actually worth double what they normally are. Meaning, if they're worth about 10 days compared to a hammer, well, now they're worth about 20 days. So 100%, like buy a
So,
builder potion and use them as much as you can during Hammer Jam, and you're going to get so much done.
because I got to tell you, I've been following your advice. Um, and once, and what I've been doing, because I'm now in the long game, right? Like I've
Right?
kind of rushed
You're in the end
and
game.
yeah, like in the end game
The Avengers
of
Part Two.
getting to hanging with the big boys. And I have really been working on catching up, like the lower defenses, and even like um, basically been favoring up until Hammer Jam shorter upgrades more than I have before. Like, okay, now I'm gonna get my even my collectors and stuff, just
Mm-hmm.
like stacking them in there to get more HP on the board and
Mm-hmm.
um this stuff. So I was playing it really smart, I think, and just having them go constantly during that, lack of training boost or building boost. And then, and I used hammers, and books at the end of the last month. So I've got my, scatter shots done.
Yep.
I've got, eagle done. So all the things that I needed in like the lab, I said one level on the pet house. Um, I just because of Hammer Jam did the Archer Tower upgrades, like the combining
Mm-hmm.
and the cannon ones, because I got all my cannons up
Yep.
before that, like to so those will be done, and I just need to get those out of the way quick because I'm in war base hell, between
Mm-hmm.
things.
Well, I can
And
imagine when you download a map, like they include the merged archer towers
yeah,
and the merged cannons, and I was the same way. So I merged my archer towers and cannons last on my main, and so whenever you would download a new internet base and move around the traps and stuff, like if you didn't have the merged archer towers, like you were really effed up when it came to trying to figure out. Well, you have
yeah.
6 cannons when there's only 3 spots. Well, what do I do with that?
Yeah, and we were talking about so we're gonna buy bases next month for CWL, and we were talking about that, and Chewy said, and we said we should do a guide. Hey, if we're gonna do this, um, here's what you should plan for, like or upgrade to make sure. Because I hadn't thought about that. So like if you're gonna buy a TH16 base,
Yep.
well, it's not gonna work really well if you don't have those merged.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said the spell towers, and I hadn't thought about that. So, making sure that they were all up to the max level, so that way, when if you got the base, that it had the right spell towers.
Right.
I'm
If it called for an
guessing.
invis spell, then you could use the invis spell option on the tower. Makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, so then so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna prioritize those things, and I like you, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do these lower things and get caught up, and then use these books. But I had a ton of DE, so the monolith is down, and I think um I can get my infernos. I know I can get my infernos and my air defenses done, and I think my expos
Yeah. You're right
in
there,
this
man.
time.
That's exciting.
Yeah, because if I use builder potions, and then eventually it's gonna be just like ones a day. One a day is coming
Mm-hmm.
open, and then I can just stay in that rhythm. But yeah, this is gonna really push people fast.
Yep. Agree. Which I think
And
is their goal.
the pets, right? I should have just gemmed or even canceled my Spirit Fox right away because I had like a 2 days or something left on it. And then the next level is only a day and something.
And I
So
was going to tell you too, I would not. So the angry jelly is an amazing pet. It was used for worlds a little bit here and there, but I don't use it anymore, and I would not worry about upgrading your pet house to that next level if you're not in a rush to do so. Kind of like how the clan castle upgrade is kind of worthless. Like I would say that next pet house level for you as well is kind of worthless, in my opinion.
and the only reason I do it is that way if I go to
17.
17 right
Yep,
away,
and that's a
then
good
it's
point.
ready to go. And same
That
with
that's a good
my
point.
CC. I think I'll hammer that eventually. Just but like I haven't done it yet, but I feel like that's going to be a condition
I
for
agree.
something to go up. Um, but by the end of Hammer Jam, like I will be less of a rushed 16 than I was 15 when I went up, I believe.
I agree. I agree with that. I think by the next CWL, you will be, if not like one of the close to max Town Hall 16s that we have on the map.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of I saved a lot of CWL medals from last time. So I think I had 120 or something. So that's a bunch of builder potions. I'm sure they're gonna be, some deals with some good builder potions. Um, I'll grab those and just do some work. But
Start plowing away.
yeah, I think it's really exciting, and we're seeing a lot of loot out there
Loot
too.
too, yes. Loot's been massive.
I got a raid last night. I think it was 3 million of each.
Did you see Chewy's this morning?
I did not.
So he looted, I think it was 37 million dark elixir in one raid. Or, I'm sorry, not 37 million, 37,000. Sorry. No,
Yeah, I should have screenshotted mine. It was something crazy like that. Maybe it was 32.
it's like that's crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. Like
Oh,
how much loot is out there right now.
so I wanted to hash this out with you. So,
Yeah.
and this is maybe a good idea for clan leaders out there. But we were talking in chat about so so I shared one and somebody else shared one and I had an idea. I said, let's do a contest. And so we're gonna do this contest in House of L. Did you see that in the chat?
Was that the like the gold grab, elixir grab contest or
Yeah. So, and I don't know how to phrase it. So what I did is I just created a Discord um chat, and the contest is who submit a screenshot of your highest raid
oh that was it. Yeah, yeah,
during
yeah.
the Hammer Jam contest. So
Right.
just during Hammer Jam, screenshot it, and I said I'd buy the top 3 people
A gold pass.
a gold pass.
Yep, I did see that. That's super generous of you. Super nice.
That I So we've got like 16 days, right? Or I can't remember what's left on
Yeah, I
the
think you're right. It's probably like 16 days left
14,
of
14
Hammerjam.
days and 14 hours.
Oh, perfect.
I think there's going to be some crazy hits in there, like where we're going to see just sick loot.
I
And
heard somebody say 5 million, 5 million, and like 40,000 was the most that you could gain from a raid.
somebody's got to hit it.
That's crazy.
So what should the rules be? I mean, you just think like, okay, it would just make sense, but what are any issues that could come up? Like, should it be um overall total?
What goals am I shooting for when I'm farming?
Well, like if you're gonna if so we get to the end of the contest, right? And 2 people put up very similar or very high uh bases. Would it go by complete total
I,
by category?
I would say the highest, so the best 2 out of 3.
Okay.
So I mean that's what I would say. So for example, I come across, and this is, I mean, it's your decision,
No, that's a good idea.
100%. But like I come across a lot of bases that have tons and tons of elixir, but no gold. So
Yeah.
what if somebody comes across a base that has 5 million elixir and 40,000 dark elixir, but 100,000 gold?
Yeah.
Like they still won in 2 of the categories. So I would just say, I mean, I can also see it, to be honest with you, as the overall total, but
So it
I
would
don't know.
have to be 2 out of 3. And I'm guessing in the end it's gonna be people sharing all 3, right? So now we've got it all 3, then it would be you'd have to win the 2 of the 3 categories.
I don't know too, because like what if somebody posts, like you get somebody who has 5 million and 40,000 dark elixir and 100,000 gold, but then you have somebody who gets like 4.8 million gold, 4.8 million elixir, and 39,000 dark elixir. Like kind of to me, that
But that
would
would
beat
win
the
two of the
one.
3 categories, wouldn't it?
And so it would, for instance, it would lose in the DE category because it's just under the other one, and then it would lose in the elixir category because it's just under the elixir. It would only win in the gold category. So that's why I'm kind of thinking maybe my idea is not the best. I don't know. We're
No, oh,
rehashing
I
this
see what
live.
you're saying. No, I see what you're saying. Um, okay.
I don't know. I think definitely
Yeah,
think
because
something to think about.
you could win in 2 categories and lose in the maybe it's like the difference.
How about you do the person who has the one gold pass goes to the person who post a screenshot with the most loot overall. So that's gold plus elixir plus dark elixir. Whoever has the highest number there gets a gold pass. The second gold pass is for the person who comes up with the most amount of gold and elixir. And the third gold pass is for the person who comes up with the most dark elixir. Or you know what we could do? We could do total. We could do gold pass number 2, most gold pass number 3, most elixir, and then gold pass number 4, the most dark elixir, and Tip Dog 20 would throw in the fourth gold pass.
Then if I could see something like that, but what if like the second person?
So that means technically the person who won with the most overall could also win too. So they could, we just have to stipulate in the rules that you could only win one gold pass. So that the person who got
Yeah.
the most overall wouldn't also win the most gold category, the most elixir category, and the most dark elixir category. Only one gold pass per person.
All right, let's think about it. Okay, to put it out to L2. We'll have to get like a judge. We'll have to get like a panel of judges,
Yeah,
a
that's
rules
perfect.
committee,
Our,
as a,
our new co-leaders could do that.
our new
And shout out
wonderful
to all the new
co.
co-leaders in House of L.
Hey, hey, go co. So, what? Anything else on Hammer Jam, just in general? Any advice for people? I guess like,
Man, just loot, raid, raid, raid. Like farm as much as possible. Now's the best time to upgrade walls. Like my walls are way behind on my Town Hall 14 and Town
oh,
Hall 15 because I don't play those accounts as much. So like I'm gonna try catching up, but also like I'm trying to put out videos at the same time. So it's like, well, how much time do I farm? How much time do I spend putting out videos? So I don't know. We'll see. I'll get to it as much as I can.
um, oh, I know it. Okay, sorry. I was like, there's one question I want to. Okay, one other question I had to ask you about this. When it comes to research potions and CWL metals, does it make sense to use? Would it be? Is it better to use it for building potions or research potions? So
So
should
I
I
I ha-
save some for research? Is
I don't like I haven't done the research on the research potion. So the research potions cost 20 league medals compared to a hammer of fighting. So that's a 6-to-1 comparison. So I guess any
I
technically
I
in
guess
under normal circumstances, any upgrade that's over 6 days, it would make more sense to use a hammer of fighting. But with the 50% off, then that means any upgrade over 12 days, it would make sense to use the hammer. So anything 12 days or less, it would make sense to use the research potion in this example. I
so.
think I
But
did my math right.
between the builder potion and the research potion from the CWL shop, you would favor builder potion.
I would favor the builder potion only because we tend to already have max the armies that we use for war. So
Yeah.
basically the troops that we're upgrading towards the end are like our giants, which nobody uses anymore.
Yeah.
Or, our E-drags. Like we did see some E-drag attacks in Worlds, which are amazing to watch, but I never use E-drags. So those are the kind of troops that I have left. So I'm like, if I have league medals, probably not going to waste it on research potions because the troops that I would be upgrading anyway, I don't really use. So the
Yeah.
buildings are what's really important, and that's what I would prioritize.
I did I have been kind of doing a little different strategy on the upgrades. And I accidentally hit the wrong button on one. But
Yeah. Wah, wah,
but what
wah,
I've been doing,
wah.
especially I think since the start, and I had a couple like research potions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so some of my things that were really behind were short. And or maybe this was actually right up to Hammer Jam too. Like I was doing my Skelly spell, it was behind. But
Yep, yep.
I was really trying to use this one to do everything that would be like maybe 5 less than the top. So not do my uh Velks to max, but do my hogs up to the one under max to get them ready for a book.
Yeah, you could. So I recommend that you get your all everything, especially the troops you don't use, up to one level off max. That way, when you get a book of fighting, you can use that book of fighting on that troop that's useless that we don't use. I would
Yeah.
agree that that would definitely be the best method. But also, like if there are any troops that you use in or a player uses in war that they haven't maxed out yet, I would definitely get those maxed during this time, because if, for example, there's a base that's just screaming e-dragons, I can always pop a power potion. When if all the troops that I use for my normal attacks, as long as all of those troops are maxed, then I won't have to use a power potion for
Yeah,
the
that's a good point.
majority of my attacks. And if there is an attack that calls for me to use a troop that I never use, well, then I can just use a power potion if that's the case.
Yeah. And by the end of the month, if you do the event pass and stuff, like those books go fast
They
too,
do.
or like one spell thing. Um, yeah, okay. So I went in last night and I was like, okay, my first round of upgrades of the event were going, and then I had a couple gaps. So I'm like, I'm gonna speed through with some builders, get it really close, but I'm not gonna use all my CWL medals yet. I'm gonna ask Tip about it because I thought if I sat down and you're like, no, you should really use the research potions. I wanted to make sure I still had some left. So just gonna go to town um on the builder stuff.
The
Uh
other thing to consider, and this is the only other thing, is
oh.
make sure that the troop is high enough in order to activate the super troop. So, for example, whenever I went to Town Hall
Yeah.
14 on my 14, my super bowlers were still at Town Hall 13 level. Like I hadn't they were at Town Hall 13 or Town Hall 12 level, I can't remember. But I hadn't upgraded them enough, and I wanted to use super bowlers in war, and I went to the super troop sauna so that way I could activate the super troop, and my bowlers were not leveled up enough to where I could activate the super
Yeah.
troop. And even
Yeah.
if you use a power potion, that power potion doesn't
Doesn't do it.
allow
Yeah.
you to activate the super troop
Ooh,
if the base
interesting.
troop is not a high enough level. That's the only other consideration.
You know, that was something I thought about too because during CWL I saw some cool super hog riders.
Yep. So your hogs have to be at a certain level before you can activate the super hog rider in the sauna. I
And
don't know what that is offhand, but
I
just
think I
figure
can
that
do
out and
that.
get
But
them to
then
that level at least.
but it's coordinated with the troop level anyways. So
Right.
even if you have it unlocked and you can use it, then it's like so I was thinking like those attacks are cool. Like that looks like a troop might be really fun to play with.
Yep.
Um so I'm like I got to do that. But I'm swimming in dark elixir right now. Like which is something I never thought I would ever say.
How far away are your heroes from max?
They're basically what they were. There's been very little hero books, very
Mm-hmm.
little pet potions. The store was really kind of empty for a couple days. I think they were getting ready for this. Um, so heroes are 90 on the queen, 80 on the king. So he was going to be my last TH15 project.
Mm-hmm.
39 on the uh
RC.
RC and 41 on the or no 66 on the warden.
Perfect. Yeah, you're really
So
close. That's
yeah,
exciting.
I think I'm gonna take him up to 70. Um and then I gotta get that king up.
Yeah, my warden is max on my strategic rush account. Warden is max, RC is max. My queen is at 88, and my king is at I think 85 on my strategic rush account. So I'm really close, really close.
And do you use the do, do you get the event pass or do you buy books of heroes on that account or
No, the
just
only so I did buy the so when I first started the account, there was a $3 deal at the very beginning where you got like 3,000 gems or something for $3 plus a builder plus like it was a crazy deal. I bought that $3 deal and then I did buy the very first event pass. It wasn't Mashup Madness; it was the Cookie Rumble event. I did buy that event pass, but those are the only
Okay.
things that I bought on my strategic rush base,
That's
except for
amazing.
the monthly gold pass.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it shows. Although there are arguments to say that players should not strategic rush, especially if it's their first account, 100% agree with that. But it shows
That
how you can get to max super fast strategic rushing if you do it the right way.
and you have some guides on that too on your YouTube, right?
Yep. And we're getting close. Like we're getting there. We're gonna be. I'm aiming at hitting 18 months. Like I think 18 months is when I'll have
Wow.
everything max. So to go from 0 to max in 18 months, like that's really fast.
Yeah,
And
I don't know how
especially
you did
only
it.
buying the gold pass.
10 years later, I'm still trying to do
Yeah.
it. I buy all the shit. No.
I love it.
So okay, that one other thing on this, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about this question.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Do I shave my balls? I'm going to leave that as a
Well,
question mark in the audience's mind.
yeah.
Although,
Um, uh, would the apprentice builder does this Hammer Jam event change your feelings on the um Builder's Apprentice, or do you think it is? I don't know. How do you feel? What do you think about the Builder's Apprentice during Hammer Jam?
wah, wah, wah,
Uh,
wah.
uh,
The only reason that I think that is because of I think you can get more value out of builder potions and hero books, and the builder's apprentice is not affected by those. So if the builder's apprentice was affected by builder potions, for example, then that would be an argument to, oh yeah, like get the builder's apprentice, you're going to get double the amount you normally would throughout Hammer Jam. So maybe it would start to make sense. And the builder's apprentice does kind of make sense if you rush up to Town Hall 10, get the builder's apprentice in the beginning of your journey, and then use him all the way to max. Well, then maybe it's worth the $50 that you would spend in gems in order to use him. But the fact that he costs so much, the return on investment is just it's not worth it in my opinion. Although, like I don't fault players who are like, well, I want to invest in it. I will always have him. Like I can cut that use the builder's apprentice to cut my hero time down. Like I understand all of those
so
arguments. So it's really a personal decision at that point.
okay, yeah, I'm just kind of wondering, like, because I was thinking, well, if everything is half, right? So right now, if you had a maxed 8 hour Builder's Apprentice, you would be getting 16 hours worth of build time in,
Kind of.
right?
Um,
Without the builder potion, because it's like in normal playtime. So, like, because everything is half. So that 3 hours is really 6 hours of normal time, right?
maybe. I guess yeah. You're from that perspective. Yes, you're right. In that during these 2 weeks, you want to finish upgrading as much as possible. So, for example, I stopped using the Goblin Builder several town halls ago on my Strategic Rush account because
He's
the
an asshole.
cost didn't make so yeah, because the cost just didn't make sense to me. Like the cost stopped making sense once I reached a certain town hall level. But now that everything is half off, well, the cost makes sense again because, for instance, my level 12 Archer Tower is now the cost at what it would have been at Town Hall 11 or Town Hall 10, which is when I was using the Goblin Builder. So I have started using the Goblin Builder on my Strategic Rush base again, but with the Builder's Apprentice, man, I'm just not a fan. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's a personal decision.
No, I mean, I think like during this time, it's like, well, you're getting really double the time. Um, If you
True.
think
Yeah, you
about it,
are
like
right.
compared to like the regular thing, I was like,
The
well,
regular
God, that
cost.
makes a good case for, if events are going to speed things up like that,
I would
you're
almost spend.
also like kind of like I guess it kind of affects the overall projection of savings, doesn't it? In a
I would.
sense.
I would almost. Supercell's not going to do this. If they do this, then we'll know that they listen to the podcast. But I would almost buy $50 worth of builder potions to use during Hammer Jam, then spend the $50 on the Builder's Apprentice to buy him.
You'd be done. You'd
Yeah,
be done with,
yeah.
yeah.
With yeah, if they offered
Well,
50 builder potions for $50, man, that would be tempting right
oh my
there.
God.
That would be crazy tempting. Oh, that
Well,
would, man, whoo, that would be tough.
and I think like if you're a newer player, or like you're further back, like you said, in town halls, and you're gonna be through a few hammer jams, right?
Yeah,
Going
right.
along, like it kind of makes me think, well, yeah, I get a little more value out of it at different times of the year, which is kind of cool.
True. Very true.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good
but
point.
I don't think I'm gonna wait for my bonuses that I get, and I'll use like from an award, and then I'll go up using those things. That's my kind of deal with myself.
Perfect.
But, um, so CWL, we just finished this CWL where Tip Dog tap danced around the top bases, uh, cut through these things like a hot knife through butter, just made it look like easy. You commanded the battlefield. Tell us about your secret weapon. I know we
I,
were talked about it last time, but
I mean, it was good CWL. It
good.
was a good CWL.
You
Like
had perfect, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I had 7 3 stars. I'm noticing more and more bases in Legend League that are more set up to counter the attack that I'm using. So I'm expecting. I mean, again, we talked about last time. Like the reason why I love this game is because you have to adjust. Like you have to learn new strategies. It forces you to learn, and like you can't just use e-drags all the way through and expect a 3 star. Like you have to learn different troops, different
Yeah.
pathing, like all of that. And so I'm expecting it to start to get harder, especially because this attack is so powerful.
Did you like take off all your son's school stuff off the fridge and be like, "No, that's it. We're putting my my 3-star war maps up." Um, it was, it is still super powerful. So, is that the quad?
So
Or
it's a
you not want to talk about it? Are you afraid to jinx it?
no, 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 no. It's kind of like the quad hero attack, kind of. Um,
I'm just trying to, yeah, for everybody listening, like,
it's
how would you
just I
describe it?
do the warden charge, and I try to use my flame flinger if I can. If you can get the flame, with the beauty of the warden charge is you if you can get the flame flinger, you can stick it right in there
Just stick it in.
where where the like a couple expos are locked onto your warden, and then the flame flanker just walk down the other side, which were
Yeah.
protected by those expos. You can get so much value with that flame flinger. So it's just the warden charge, and then at 2 minutes, I put in my king and my queen on one corner with an ice golem, and I put my RC with the seeking shield and the spear on another corner. Everything collapses towards the middle, and then I just clean up with back end Lalo. And I love it because this is the most involved attack that I've ever done, and I'm not good with Lalo at Town Hall 16. Like at the higher town halls, I'm not good enough to be able to Lalo a base. Like it's the highest skill expression in Clash of Clans to be able to do something like a Queen Charge Lalo or a Sui Hero Dive Lalo, something like that. But this attack, I don't have to think a lot for the Lalo part, and my heroes do so much damage that like
Yeah.
it's really working out, and I'm happy with it.
As I said the last time, it's made me rethink things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it I have been running different attacks. Like I think my problem during CWL, I did not do that great during CWL.
You had some nice attacks though.
Kind of
Yeah.
sometimes. But I mean, I made a stupid mistake where I forgot to drop. I can't roll my healers. I mean, it was, it, and so I think what has happened, I felt like I had lost my touch this over the last week. Like I felt really good. And then, of course, I'm a new 16, right? So it's like
Mm-hmm. It
learning
takes time.
everything.
Right, right.
I realized like I was hitting 16s, but not 100% of the time, right? I was probably hitting 25% 16s in the wild before, but this shit show of fire and everything going on is like
Yep.
a firecracker going off in my hands. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I'm learning that part of it. But I was really questioning everything I knew. And because of seeing that, and then Tyler had shared that guide to like the quad. And so I'm kind of like all these different strategies I was trying and kind of adapting and these different troop combos anytime I could do it because my my attack wasn't just getting the power after the nerf to the druid. So I was like trying to rework it. I was watching your attacks and so I was like trying to do like the warden is trying to adapt it and see how yours fit in with the quads and how I could, do this. And I really like that warden flinger move split. Um and so all of these things just kind of like came together and it was like overload in my brain, I think. And so I'd get down to do something and then make a stupid mistake because I was trying to remember all these moving parts and then I just hadn't practiced enough with it. But it was worth risking unpracticed, fully unpracticed armies like over and over and over and over again, just because I knew I was running out of steam and probably wasn't going to get it with my old one.
One change that a lot of players have made at Town Hall 16 is at Town Hall 14 and even Town Hall 15, Super Bowlers were extremely powerful. But at Town Hall 16, a lot of players switched over to Super Witches. And we actually talked about this in a previous
Oh,
episode where it's a very similar attack. But the difference is that the Super Bowler has 2,400 HP and the Super Witch has 3,600 HP. So that extra 1,200 HP ensures that the Super Witches are able to stay alive just a little bit longer and also give us a little bit of time to react. And then also the Super Witches, like they constantly produce the big boys, the giant skeletons.
yeah.
So they may be under fire for a little bit, but for the most part, those big boys are going to be the ones that are walking out ahead of the super witches and are going to be taking a lot of the fire. So maybe worth considering switching from super bowlers over to super witches. Only negative is that super witches are 40 housing space and then the super bowlers are 30
Oh,
housing
shit.
space. So like you'll have to
Well,
rejigger your army a little bit.
I like oh, and let's throw in this too into the mix of all of it. Um, Synchronics from the World Strategy.
Mm,
So
right,
I
right.
was, because people were saying, oh, that would work really well with like how you attack. So I was like out looking at videos and stuff. And so I was like, all these big strategies kind of coming together. But I really like those E Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said that, I thought, what about a super witch with E Titans? But I like, yeah, yeah. So you think maybe lose the Super Bowlers? I could try doing something without.
Yeah, and the beauty of the synchronic attack, it's different. Like it'll be different muscle memory because with that attack, it was a golem and the queen to funnel on one side, and then it was skeleton spells on either side. So skeleton spell, golem,
Oh my gosh,
queen
love
on
that
one
spell.
side, and then on the other side it was skeleton spell, siege barracks, and then followed up with the RC, and then the king with the earthquake boots on, and 3 or 4 healers with the warden and 2 E Titans going up the middle. Like it seemed to work really, really well.
Yeah.
But it would have to be a shift in mindset because it's a little bit different entry, very similar as far as the pathing goes and funneling on one side versus funneling on the other, but it's also faster. Like we talked about
Yeah.
the difference
You
between
got
a
to do it
warden
all at
charge and
like
a
the
queen
same
charge.
time.
Right. So a queen charge is harder to control,
Yeah.
and so there's more going on. So it would just take a little bit of practice in order to know, okay, I need to put my queen here, I'm going to get the most value here, putting my siege barracks down, watching my king, when do I hit my earthquake boots,
Yeah.
all of that. Like it's just a little more involved attack.
And even when I look at attacks like yours or like the synchronic attack or when I look at that stuff, even if I don't do that particular attack, I go, could I make that work in what I'm already doing? Like the entry, like, or, oh, they're doing this, or like your, the warden flinger
Mm-hmm.
thing. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I see how he's getting a lot more out of it that way. And then I could bring my troops in like this then and stuff. And, um, uh, so even if I don't do the attacks, are just like super helpful to see and to adjust. But that why I like that attack too was that it was bringing in the E Titans,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there was what 2 healers on the E Titans,
I think 3.
3.
They brought 3, sometimes 4, but 3 was the typical, I think, in their attacks.
Really, what you could do is like, so maybe on, so if you've got your flinger going to go down one side, your warden's going to go down the other. You let that warden burn down the one side. You dropped the queen in front of it, and those healers then the warden get latches on, and you queen walk and warden walk down the one side, and then like bring in the E Titans to funnel him in, kind of just do like a does that make sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. So what I like to do whenever I'm learning a new attack is I'll watch a YouTube video. And I forgot the guy who I watched the YouTube video for. I wish I could call him out because it was amazing what he did. But I will find a YouTube video of the attack that I
Clash in the
like.
Nude, I think it was.
You're
Yeah.
Clash in the nude, Clash in the nude with shade balls.
Yeah.
But I will take the attack, whatever it is, on whatever channel that I'm watching. I will copy the army exactly as what how they did it in the video, and then I will just run that attack nonstop for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, like as they have it. And then over those 4 or 5, 6 days, I'm like, maybe I could replace this with this. And then I start adjusting the army to my style, but I run it exactly as they have it in the YouTube video for the first several days just to kind of get a feel for it. And honestly, like when I started this warden charge attack, I had a lot of 1 stars,
Did
like a
you?
lot of 1 stars, because I wasn't used to the like it's distracting because you have the warden, and keeping the warden alive is the most important part of that attack. The moment that warden dies, unless he's already done so much damage and you're in like the last minute of the attack, like your attack's done. Like it's scuttled. You're not going to 3 star. But you trying to keep the warden alive. You're trying to figure out where to put your king and your queen. You're trying to figure out where to put the RC. You got to remember to hit the RC ability right away. You got to look to make sure your flame flinger isn't getting eaten up by skeletons that you missed. All of that's going on kind of all at the same time right there around the 2 minute mark. So there's a lot to focus on. But then once I got, the muscle memory down, once I had done it for 3 or 4 days, then I started to see some success. But I had to push through that initial, oh man, I'm
Yeah.
not used to using these troops and this combination this way. Like it took me 3 or 4 days of muscle memory before I finally started to get to
Got
the point where I'm like, okay, I know what to look for. I know how to do it now.
And my problem too is that I run into issues with hero and or pet and equipment level
Mm,
where like I like
that's
your
true,
attack, and that's where all week I've been over the last I guess couple weeks getting my fireball up
right?
because it was so low, and then I was trying running it and I'm like, god, yeah, I'm not getting enough out of it. Um and I had just got the spirit fox, so I'm like, as soon as that thing is done, then I'm really in the game. Um between because I've got Frosty basically, of the new ones, like Frosty's max, the Phoenix is maxed, um, and then I have the Yak and the Owl. But
Mm-hmm.
once I get the Spirit Fox max, I can go back and get like the Owl way up higher and get everything else finished off, I guess. And so like without the Spirit Fox, I go, uh, well, this attack kind of needs this on this one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I have to sometimes just adapt it. But
Well,
I've
you know
been
the pro
playing with the different pets, like seeing you put the unicorn on the
on the
warden.
word, mm-hmm, right?
Um, I did that, and then I was trying the queen with Frosty, and I'm just experimenting because I finally Frosty's done, so I can play with him too. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to learn.
You know the pros had to go through this exact same thing because in hard mode, epic equipment is maxed at 21. So in order to counteract the less damage that the fireball was doing, they were bringing 2 earthquake spells. And the number one target in my attacks, if I can get it, in most cases, is going to be the enemy CC. So, I mean, granted, if the enemy CC is out on an island and there's nothing around it, then of course I'm not going after that with my fireball. But if there's any value around the CC, then I'm going to fireball the CC. And so the pros, whenever they were doing that attack, they would use their level 21 fireball. And then as long as they got down 2 earthquakes, then they could still destroy the CC with the combination of 2 earthquakes and the fireball. So that's how they kind of counteracted that lack of power with the fireball and being limited to level 21.
And so if you destroy the CC with the troops in it, is that what you were?
Right, right. Yeah. So you don't want the troops to come out. I mean, I bring a poison spell just in case, but if you can destroy the CC without the troops coming out, then either A, you won't get held up by the triple ice golems that everybody's putting in their
Yeah,
CC, or B, I'm seeing a lot more high damage CCs. So I'm seeing lots
super
of
minion.
super minion headhunter CCs. And
Oh,
I'm watching it closely. Whenever my warden gets close to the CC, like I got to keep my eye on it because there's been a couple times where it will be at the 2 minute mark and I'll take my eye off the warden for just a second to put down my king and my queen in another corner. And as I'm doing that, the warden triggers the CC. I scan back over to see 3 headhunters headed at my warden and
oh,
two super minions shooting their power shots at him, and he's dead in like 2 seconds.
it, oh
And
shit.
it
Okay.
knocks the attack out like super quick. So
So
I think we'll see more of those CCs coming back as well.
if you're gonna fireball it, are they in range?
The
Like,
fireball was
are
out
you
of the
trying
range
to
of the
like?
CC.
So you're trying to like hit the defense next to the CC?
Correct. Yeah. So if there's like a Rico in front of the CC or the monolith or the eagle. So the fireball, I think, has a 6 tile range. And so as long as you hit that defense, as long as the
Oh
CC is
shit.
like within 6 tiles of that defense, whenever the fireball hits, it will also destroy the CC. So you're out of range of the CC from triggering it. And then, if you're a level 21 fireball, as long as you hit the fireball and put the 2 earthquake spells down on the CC, of course, the defenses around it, then you will destroy the CC before any of the troops come out.
Would that work with a level 20?
Yes. So I did, because I did that attack in Angry Wookiees this past CWL at a level 20. It actually is a level 20 fireball, I think, on Tal Shiar on my Rush 16. And I just had to remember to bring 2 earthquake spells in order to be able to get the same damage as I would with a level
Hmm.
27 Earth Fireball.
Okay. Well, you learn something every day. Uh, here's a stupid question of the week. The Okay, this is kind of embarrassing.
No, not at all. You're so funny.
No, no. Now, if I send the RC in, it won't take out a hero, right? With Unless it's activated.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like I can't send a RC at a queen, right?
So you can, but the RC typically, unless so it takes a lot for her to aggro onto a hero because her AI is such that she's defense targeting. So she will typically, and I've noticed this with my attacks, she will typically target defense, defense, defense until she's right next to the hero. And the
Okay.
moment that that hero starts attacking her, that's when she starts to attack the hero that's attacking her. So it takes a
Okay.
lot for her to aggro on to the enemy hero. And typically, what I'll do in that instance is my army has 3 headhunters in it, and so I'll just try to plan on releasing the headhunters at the right time, and then I'll use my invisi spells to protect the headhunters and or protect the RC, so that way the queen doesn't kill my RC or the enemy RC doesn't kill my RC, kind of a thing.
Okay. Then I'm not completely nuts where I've could have swore she's taken out a hero,
Yes,
in
yeah.
the past, or I see her at some time do it, but then it's like sometimes it's like she just gets wiped out by one of them. Okay.
Yeah, and it just takes a little extra, like it's that's what with this attack. Like you're just all over the place. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what's my king and queen doing? What would and the beauty of it is you can basically just leave your king and queen alone. Like, especially in the beginning of learning this attack, I just ignored my king and my queen. Like I used super barbarians, I funneled them into the spot, and I basically just ignored them until I could learn, to go back and forth a little bit. But I didn't even bother with my king and my queen. I just completely 100% focused my attention on the warden, and the king and queen can die. And we talked, last time about how you almost want them to die so that way they don't pull the warden to target whatever they're targeting. So, like, literally leaving them alone is the best thing to do in that case. And then, kind of the same thing with the RC in the beginning. Like, I would just warden walk or warden charge, release the king and the queen in one corner, release the RC in the other corner, immediately hit the RC ability, and then it's back to the warden. Like, I pretty much just ignore the RC, ignore the king, ignore the queen, let them do their thing. All my attention's on the warden, making sure that he stays alive for the entirety of the attack.
Yeah. I think with the RC question is like I think I've made some bad judgment calls of where I've sent her in thinking that she would get the hero at
So
times. Like I
the
just assuming that she would because I've so now I just won't be very I didn't realize she was that picky with it.
the, the only hero that the RC can't counter, especially with the Spirit Fox, is the king. But the
Mm,
king is so high health and he does so much damage with his sword. He has this mighty sword that he whacks people over the head with.
yeah.
Like she cannot take the king one on one. But the queen and the RC, as long as maybe she has little help with a free spell or an invis spell, like she can take on the king or the queen and the RC no problem.
Yeah. Okay. You learn something uh, you learn something new every day. Uh
Me too, man. Me
I
too.
honestly think that like your attack when you're doing it, I was looking at it thinking, if he puts this stuff down faster, you could probably crush that base 45 seconds faster, don't you think?
Well, so the beauty of this attack is for every defense that my warden destroys, that's one less defense that can shoot at my other heroes or at my loons.
Yeah.
So and again, and that's the difference too between a casual and a pro. Like these pro players were able to do these attacks and get these bases down in less than a minute. Like, well, it takes Tip Dog 23 minutes,
No,
sometimes literally the full 3 minutes to do the attack effectively.
no, and it's just that like with and this was probably a few wars ago. or like probably early in CWL when I was watching it, because you're just very, you have it very ordered, and it still wipes it out really clear. But I was thinking to myself, like, if all of those pieces went down at the same time, wouldn't they all just
They
pretty
could.
much?
Yeah. I've not practiced at that at all.
I mean,
That's a
that's
possibility, I guess.
by no means a criticism. It just is like so, you know when an attack is good, and you know when somebody's really good when it almost looks effortless, like the troops march, and I've seen some of Tip's attacks where it's like it looks like the troops get to the one thing, oh, to left, and they start going this way and stuff. So it just is really cool to see that.
Hmm.
Um yeah, just like wow, the power of the heroes. And I notice a lot of people in L have been really playing around with it. Uh
Yeah, it's
uh
exciting to watch.
Firing off or starting off with the heroes activated more. We had a we just wrapped up CWL. It was a fun week, a very busy, tiring week.
Mm-hmm.
Late getting the podcast up. Um, but we ended up finishing third place, which pretty good for
Mm-hmm.
you could really see like the improvement. Um, you know, if you just look at every CWL, it's like up a little bit, up a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
up a little bit.
Little by little.
Um, and I think we're getting into that range where I kind of thought we would promote, and I had a rough war, and I think people were struggling a little bit right at first after the event troops went away.
Mm-hmm. True.
So, but it was fun. It couldn't ask for uh, better. Everybody gave it their best shot and had fun, and
So in Angry Wookiees, we unfortunately were overmatched. So
w-
the moment that a clan goes into Masters, which we are in Masters 3, that's the point at which most of the bases we're going to encounter are going to be 15s and 16s. And we were going up against 15s and 16s all week. And we had, I think, 3 Town Hall 16s. One of those is my strategic rush, and like 2 or 3 Town Hall 15s, and the rest were 14s. And so our 14s were hitting up every single war. And
oh
it was really tough. So unfortunately, we demoted back down to Crystal 1. But I mean, we're at that point to where we can re-promote up into Masters 3, no problem. Especially as we're getting CWL a little more organized, and as the accounts that are in L are going up to Town Hall 16, and we're having more Town Hall 16s to do CWL with. Well, then
yeah.
that will naturally result in our Town Hall 15s moving over to Angry Wookiees, and then Angry Wookiees will naturally get a little bit heavier, which means we can actually compete in Masters 3 whenever it reaches that
I
point.
bet it's going to get very heavy quickly.
I
Heavy, like
agree.
over
Yeah.
the hammer jam. Um,
Yeah,
and
we're
it's
picking up a lot of really active players who are excited about upgrading, who are excited
yeah.
about learning attacks. So yeah, I can definitely see us getting there.
I think the next CWL is gonna be a blowout fun time because I think there's gonna be all the stuff, excitement around the town hall, holiday season. Everybody's there's been a lot of movement uh in the L family and like people coming and I think we're gonna have a really fun, maybe a different looking makeup, with the town halls and stuff for next
Yeah,
CWL. So I'm excited about that. And
and we actually might have to run 4 CWO clans next month. And we still have to talk about that and like what that might look like and how we would organize that. But like House of L2, like we smashed pretty much everybody. Promoted to Gold 3, so
hell
still have a
yeah,
ways to go before we can at least get to Crystal. But I mean, in 3 months we'll be in Crystal 3, which is the goal. But we can put lower accounts in House of L2 to get it up to that point, and then
yeah,
maybe run a different CWL, maybe Corpse Bar or something like that. So we still have to talk about the details on running 4 clans if that's something that we're going to do.
yeah. I think that I like it's never really about like winning or losing really, but when you get to like those wars, I mean, you want to win, right? But it's
Right.
about the team stuff and everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
But when you get to those wars where your 14s are going up to 16s and it's like the high level, I just feel like it's exhausting. Like I feel
Yeah.
like when you are overmatched, it's not like that you lose or anything like that. It's just like you're kind of facing the impossible and just having
Yep.
to be hardcore on for so long. That 7 days is just it's a lot of strategizing, I think. And when it's done, when it starts, I'm like, I wish we could do this every day. And by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, every 2 days is all right. Just the high
Yeah.
stakes kind of
Agreed.
thing.
Agreed.
But so yeah, so thank you to everybody in CWL. We'll keep going, and I think we've got a a good setup and way to move people around, and we'll get all the details figured out going forward.
Yep.
Shout outs.
So I wanted to shout out V Force, who's one of my YouTube viewers. He's based in Ethiopia, and evidently the
Oh,
city that he
V-Force.
lives in just went down from electricity. And so
Oh
he was
no.
lamenting the fact that he was not going to be able to participate in Hammer Jam. So he's been a regular commenter on my YouTube videos. And he said that he was going to go to a hotel so that way he could have the hotel internet so that he could participate in Hammer Jam. So,
Oh
but I wanted to shout him out. Uh, Hopefully, man, you're able to get Hammer Jam done. And then, of course, GCBC for running House of L2, Chewy for running Angry Wookiees. Like,
yeah,
excellent job, and big shout out to all the clan members as well, all the new members that have joined. Like, it's been a really exciting and electric atmosphere.
yeah.
Learning, improving. Like, all of us are in this together.
It seems like everybody's fired up about these new strategies and stuff too. Like
Mm-hmm.
or and setups, and I think it'll be fun too to see what it's like when we get some bases, if how
Yep.
that switches up. But so I guess I'll just shout out House of L again, everybody. There's so many shout outs I need to get to. GCBC, Chewy, like you said, thank you guys for doing and organize. It is a lot of work. And UTIP, um, for uh doing that stuff too. It's like you guys coordinating it between Angry Wookiees and L. It's just L2 is it's just amazing, and all the help you guys are giving the clan is just really cool. So thank you, and thank you to all the listeners out there. I'm as we've been talking in the chat and here on the podcast. Winter is coming, and I think it's going to be a real fun um, time to stay indoors and to do some clashing and to get out some good content. So
And to put the of the North skins on all my heroes.
yeah, I wonder what the Christmas theme is going to be. Like, I think it's going to be expensive Christmas season with the skins.
True.
Get a hold of us, Clash Clans Podcast at gmail.com or clashclanspodcast.com. You can find all our contact info and follow Tip on Clash Tips on YouTube. And until next time, keep it clashy, everybody.
Keep clashy.
Skilly beep beep beep.